Right. So Doomsayer is a pretty bad card most of the time, but it has its place. If you play it and it doesn't work out, then you're typically even like further behind, although sometimes it can regain your tempo. Twisting Nether is the like good version of Doomsayer, but for 8 mana. It certainly is a solid card, but I think Faceless Manipulator is actually a very good card, and for that reason I will simply take the Faceless Manipulator. It's not like super amazingly good because oftentimes you never seem to get the targets you want to copy, but I think it's better than Twisting Nether. This one's interesting. These cards are all, like none of them are super great. I think Inferno's the best though. Hellfire is a little too double-edged. Stormwind Knight is good, but it's a little too weak. Like Stormwind Knight is great if they still have 2 and 3 drops on the board, and it's sometimes 2-for-1s against early game creatures if you play it on turn 4, or if you coin it on turn 3. But it's a little weak. Dread Infernal I think is a little better overall. Sense Demons can be nice depending on your deck, but it's too early in the draft to say. You know, if you can consistently be drawing Blood Imps and stuff with it, it can be very, very good, but if you don't end up with enough demons, it sucks. Or the right kinds of demons. Summoning Portal's fun, but it's too easily counterable. Acolyte of Pain is probably the safe pick here. It almost always draws at least 1 card. I mean, sometimes it gets silenced, but I mean, this is just as vulnerable to silence, among other things. Acolyte's the best card here, in my opinion, unless you know what more of your deck is going to look like. Fairy Dragon's a very easy pick here. It's a 3/2. It's one of the better. It's very good against some classes. Untargetable, it turns out to be a very big deal. And both of these cards are pretty bad. This one because it doesn't have enough health for its cost, and this one because it doesn't have enough attack for its cost. So, Fairy Dragon, all the way. Wolf Rider is fun for removal, but Worgen's simply better. Also, Warlock has some fun synergy with Power Overwhelming Worgen that can happen from time to time. And we already talked about this card being kind of mediocre if you don't know what your deck looks like. So, Worgen's a pretty clear pick there. Well, Blood Imp is what's known as the nuts. It's a card that if you play it and they can't get rid of it, you have any kind of decent hand, you usually win. Everything having an extra health is incredibly difficult to deal with. Things that don't normally 2-for-1 things start turning into 2-for-1ing things. It's just ridiculously good. And this card's obviously not a Warlock card. This card's alright, but it's no match for Blood Imp. Money Berserker is a solid 2, and Mortal Coil, this card's bad, we talked about it before. Having 1 damage is just too much of a problem. Like, sometimes it's really great to be putting this card out, but oftentimes it just gets run over without doing any damage. I think Berserker is better than Mortal Coil, especially since 2-drops are so important. This pick sucks. All these cards are below average. Voidwalker's simply too weak. If you don't end up getting Demon Fires, this card's basically trash. Snapjaw, I have nothing that synergizes with Snapjaw to make it good yet. Like, I mean, Dark Iron Dwarf is an example of something that can make this not total trash, but in general, Warlock cards don't do much for this. Succubus, I'm not a big fan of. It's pretty much unplayable on turn 2 most of the time, against most classes. The problem with Succubus is that she gets 2-for-1'd automatically by most other 2-drops, because she discards when you play it. Having said that, she's probably still better than these 2 cards, so I'll pick her. Yeah, Succubus is not a typically good 2-drop, but Voidwalker is pretty bad, and I don't know. You can play her later in the game, and she's a really nice card, especially if you can draw out your hand and then start tapping, which frequently you're in that position anyway. Dark Iron Dwarf is very, very, very good, and these cards are both. I've never played this card before. I know it one-shots Jiraxxus when the enemy hero plays Jiraxxus, but that never happens. Not very often. Dark Iron Dwarf is a pretty clear pick, especially because I don't even have it 4 yet. This one is a little more interesting. Cobra's okay, but both of these cards are better, I think. Siphon Soul is just hard removal. It's great. It even heals you a little to help you tap more, or survive if you've been tapping too much as it is. I think the pick is Shadow Flame or Siphon Soul. Shadow Flame is very strong, but I think Siphon Soul is a little bit better. Having that hard removal is just really useful. This stream is laggy? Huh. Well, I'm sorry about that. Honestly, I'd work on it, but since I'm only drafting at this point anyway, and I'm about to go to bed, I'll just look at it tomorrow. Gosh. These cards are all pretty bad. Frostwolf Grunt, probably the worst, and Rocketeer vs. Lord of the Arena is interesting. I think Lord of the Arena is a little bit better. It has synergy with Blood Imp as well. A 6/6 taunt is a lot better than a 6/5 taunt. And the other two cards are pretty bad, so Lord of the Arena is alright. Well, looks like I'm getting my power overwhelming. These cards are both trash. This card is alright in some decks sometimes, but typically it's trash. Power overwhelming is pretty good removal. Well, Yeti is better than Silver Moon Guardian, and Silverhand Knight's really good, but I would rather have a strong 4-drop than a strong 5-drop at this point. Well, I'm already pretty good on 6s, and Archmage is not that good anyway. This card is junk, so Wolf Rider is the pretty clear pick here because it's basically it's removal. It's 3 damage for 3. It's fine. Well, I think I'm about to pick Sense Demons. I only have 2 demons so far, but and if I don't end up getting a single more, no, I have 3 demons. Never mind. If I don't end up getting any more demons, this will be a questionable pick, but I probably get a couple more. And I don't really like either of these cards that much. Well, I like Power Overwhelming, but I like Dread Infernals more, I think. And I wouldn't mind having a second one. And I do have that Sense Demons I just picked. So I like Flame Imp more than Corruption. The delay on this makes it obnoxious to use, and you can frequently get 2 for 1 by it. I don't really like Demolisher that much, to be honest, so I take Shadow Flame. Yeah, these cards both suck. This unit, because 2/2 for 2 sucks, and obviously 1/2 for 2 sucks. 1/2 for 1 also sucks. Flame Imp's good. I am the same Micken who played Scrolls, yes. Imp Masters. These cards are both bad. Most 1-drops, other than the class-specific ones here, are typically bad. Imp Master's pretty good. This card doesn't do enough damage, this card doesn't have enough health. This effect is fun, but it's too easily killed. This card has no attack, and in most decks it's trash, including this one. We already talked about this card. This card's actually not bad. The Divine Shield kind of makes this able to do 2 damage a lot of the time, and it makes it a great target for buffing with Dark Iron Dwarf and hopefully another card that I might pick up like Shattered Sun Cleric. I think both these cards are pretty bad. As much as I would like another 2-drop, Panda's like a really good 4, so I'll take that. More Flame Imps. Both of these cards are pretty bad. Most of the Wind Fury cards are bad in general, so Flame Imps are good. I really need a 2-drop. In general, you would want 3 2s instead of 2 3s, but this one's alright. Granted, Flame Imps almost count as 2-drops, so maybe I should pick the good 3-drop, but I'll prefer the Croc. Alright, here I will think... Yeah, I was almost taking the Scarlet. I don't know. This one's more interesting. I think Frostwolf. I really could use another 5-drop, and the way my deck is playing out, Frostwolf could be really good, especially due to the synergy with all these cheap 1 cards. So I'm gonna take Frostwolf. Oh my god. 4th Flame Imp? Mortal Coil's not bad either. Maybe I should have some diversity in my deck. What do you think? Does anyone think I should take Flame Imp or Mortal Coil? My 4th Flame Imp or my 1st Coil? No. Pick Coil. I think most people prefer the Flame Imps. I'll go with that, it's fine. Here I'll take... These are both similar in terms of how good they are, but I'd rather have another 2-drop. And all these cards are pretty bad. That's all I really have to say on the matter. Oh... I don't have a single thing that does spell damage, so there's really no point picking Kobold. Murloc Tidehunter probably better. Alright, I think I need the Shadow Bolt pretty badly, although another Brewmaster is also pretty good. This is a really rushy deck, you know that? These cards are both good. Yeah, man, I gotta flip my Flame Imps back so I can burn myself down even faster. This deck's gonna get owned pretty hard by anybody with AoE. I don't know. I think Brewmaster might be better here. Like, honestly, with as many, like, cheap creatures I have, I almost should be preferring to trade creatures so I don't get too AoE valued. Yeah, this deck ended up being way too rushy. This deck doesn't need removal, it needs bigger creatures right now. But I didn't really get many spells to gadgets in. Looks like I get my Shadow Flame. Shadow Flame's this